learners, welcome to Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates. Today I'll be taking you history. My name is Salau Abubakar Olaoluwa. The topic we'll be looking at today is dating in history. You know that history has to do with events, and dating is a very important aspect of history, because as we are recording the events that happen in history, we need to also state the relative time such events occurs.
Acing your WAEC and NECO examinations has been made easy by the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education with the Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO Candidates television program. Join seasoned teachers as they take you through these core subjects, targeting the exact syllabus of WAEC and NECO. Watch Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates through these social media platforms to access more educational content and give their feedback. Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates. Pass your examinations with flying colors.
At the end of the lesson, students should be able to, number one, differentiate dating method in history. The second one is highlight the importance of dating in history. And lastly, students should be able to list different types of historical skill that is needed for an historian to be successful in the field of history. Dating method in history. Date refers to a particular day, month, year, or a particular time that an event actually occurred. It can also be a period of time, an epoch in history. It comes from the Latin word datus, which means a given, a specific time. That is where the word date comes from. And dating method refers to the procedure used to determine the time an event occurred by historians. In history, we have two types of dating method. We have the absolute dating and we have the relative dating. Firstly, we'll be looking at absolute dating. Absolute dating refers to a system of dating whereby a precise or specific age of an artifact and period of time in which an event takes place is being recorded. When we are looking at absolute dating tries to determine the specific period of time an event occurs. And in this method of dating in history, it relies heavily on, for example, the techniques of radiocarbon examination, whereby the remnants of physical and chemical remains of an artifact is being extracted, and these extracted substances are being analyzed to determine the time and period an event occurs. In absolute dating, though the specific day or month of a year may not be actually determined, but the relative time period or a time range which an event happens can actually be determined through the method of absolute dating, using the technological instruments and the technological skill that is available to us in today's time. Then we look at relative dating. In relative dating, the specific time frame or period that an event occurs cannot be determined. But what relative dating tries to do is that it tries to examine other events that happens within the same time frame to determine which event comes first and which event comes after. Also, in relative dating tries to examine two different artifacts that is being discovered within the same environment or same area to actually determine that this event comes before other, which means it can actually aid in chronological arrangement of events according to which one comes first or which one comes later. And if you can look at the board there, this picture is displaying the difference between relative dating and absolute dating to us. We can see that in relative dating, it is believed that the artifact or material that is discovered at the top here will actually happen later than the ones that are discovered in areas like here. While in absolute dating will determine that this period of time or this artifact or this event that happens between 120 million years back, while this one actually happens between 140 million years back. So we also look at dating era used in history. When we are looking at dating era, we will look at the terms like BC, which means before Christ. This term actually has a direct link and direct mentioning of the time before Jesus Christ, which Anno Domini means after the birth of Christ, AD. Then for astrologers and those people that are not Christian or doesn't want to make direct mentioning to the name of Jesus Christ, that's the reason why we have the likes of BCE, which is before Common Era, and we have CE, which is the Common Era. Then lastly, we have Anno Egeria. This has to do with reference to Islamic calendar or the migration of the Hijra, which is migration of the Prophet from Mecca to Medina. That's where the Anno Egeria means, which is AH. These are the dating eras that are mostly being used in history. Importance of dating methods. It is important to know that dating methods are very important to every activities of history and every activities of an historian. And the first importance of dating method is that it shows relationship between events. It helps us to know the event that happens within the same period of time and to be able to understand them within the same context. Then number 2 is gives chronology of past events. It helps us to know the order at which event happens, the one that happens before the other, and for us to be able to know how advanced each society is at a given period of time. Also, it gives credence to historical events. Dating helps us to authenticate events, and it helps us to make sure that this event actually happens and it happens within the same era or a particular period of time, which means it gives credence and authenticity to an event. Then also it gives information on historical events. Dating is very important because it adds to the layer of information that is available to an historian in the reconstruction of an event. It helps the historian to bring himself within the time frame of event and understand the nature of the society and the technological advancement and the nature of the people that are living within that period of time to be able to reconstruct their history effectively. Then it removes element of doubt about historical event. Dating helps us to know that does this event actually happens or it doesn't even happen, because an event that can be dated shows that it actually happens. An event that cannot be placed within a certain historical time shows that there is a doubt about the event if it actually happens. And also it gives room for objectivity, just like we've talked about objectivity previously in a lesson before. It helps an historian to achieve some certain level of objectivity in his research, and also it makes historical events concrete. It puts a kind of a stamp on an event or an historical happenings. Then also we look at historical skills. When we are talking about historical skills, these are skills that are very important to historians to equip themselves in making sure that they are successful in the field, and they are also do what? They are also that it will also help them in making sure that they produce a quality research and a quality work during their historical reconstruction. And the different type of skills that are very important for an historian to have to be able to reconstruct a past event objectively are interpretation skill. And historians need to be able to interpret events, it needs to be able to interpret documents, it needs to be able to interpret artifact and objects that have been excavated from a site. Also, investigation skill. An historian should be an investigator that can investigate events, look at how it happens, and do thorough observation of how that does thorough investigation about the sequence of events, and also chronological understanding. An historian should be able to understand the chronological order and be able to place events according to their chronological order. Chronological order of placement is very important in history because an event that happens first needs to be placed before an event that happens later. Also, understanding of events. An historian should not be someone that finds it hard or difficult to grab information and to understand it. It must be very good in understanding event. And also peoples and changes in the past, then presentation, organization, and communication skill. An historian should be a good communicator, because when you are writing an historical event, you are reconstructing it, you are communicating to an audience that will read it. An historian should be equipped with a good communication organizational skill. Then we will now look at the practice question. In dating, there are some terms that are very frequently used in dating in history, and those terms are what we'll be looking at in our practice question. The practice question says that explain the following in relevance to dating in history. The first one is a decade. When we are talking about a decade is a period of 10 years of a calendar year, or any 10 given years of human life or human existence. In the reference of a calendar year, it is usually being calculated between 0 to 9 or 1 to 10. 1 to 10. So, but mostly the use of the counting of 0 to 9 is most popular. For example, now when we are looking at events that happened between 1960 and 1969, that has a period of 10 years, and that relates to a decade. Then we also look at a century. A century is a period of 100 years, whether 100 years in a person's life, irrespective of when it started and ended, or 100 years of a calendar period, which, just like a decade, also starts between the counting of 0 to 99 or 1 to 100. So, and also we'll also look at a period. A period of time is an era within an historical event. And when we are looking at a period, example of a period is what we've looked at, like BC, CE. And we can also look at a period of prehistoric era, historic era, and the modern time. And even within a particular period of time, there are a longer period of time and some division of a period within a period. For example, now when we are looking at the Middle Ages, or we are looking at the modern time, for example, within the modern times, we have the Industrial Revolution era, we have the Victorian era, we have the Baby Boomer era, and just like we have in current days, we have the Gen Z, Gen X, and Gen Z era. Also, then we have a millennium. Millennium is a period of 1,000 years. Just like at the commencement of the year 2000, around the world, people celebrated a millennium. A millennium is a period of 1,000 years in a calendar period. Thank you very much, and that's the end of today's class.
Eko Learners Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.
If you have any comments, observation, or reservation about today's class, you can please reach out to us on any of the social media handle that is displayed on the screen. Thank you.